Okay, and we are now live. I'm excited for day 3 of our Kickstart Your 2024 Nurse Biz Challenge. This is our final day together. I hope you enjoyed being with us the last few days. I'm excited because this is the part that a lot of people have been waiting for is the setting of goals. And let's get ready to really set our goals and intentions for 2024. So I'm really looking forward to today's session. So, those of you that have been following along know that we've been working on a little bit of mindset work. We've been working on getting your vision together, getting your strategy for 2024, and I'm excited to get started with this today. So, I'm going to go ahead and, okay, one second. We're having a little bit of trouble with one of our Facebook feeds. So, I'm going to go ahead and redo it again because this is what happens. Uh, Facebook has been acting up the last few days. So we'll just go ahead and add it back. And we are back live. All right, into our group. And I'm going to double check that feed there. And we should be live in our Facebook group right now. Yes, we are live now. So that's working now. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the slide presentation. So you're here for day 3 of our Kickstart 2024 Nurse Business Challenge. All right, so let's get into it. So our mission at the Nurse Shark Academy, my mission is for you to own your seat at the table of nurse entrepreneurship, gaining confidence, skills, and freedom to live your life on your own terms. You will dream big and expand your consciousness as an entrepreneur. And I have to admit, as I've been watching other content creators and nurse entrepreneurs in the space, it's been a privilege to get to know some of these nurses that are doing phenomenal things and having them on the podcast. And so I'm encouraging you to take a listen to some of the things that these nurses are doing. Um, I'm just amazed at how creative nurses are. And I know that there's more nurses that are out there speaking out, and social media has been great for nurses in that we are able to bring out those issues to the forefront. And so I'm very appreciative of that. Our vision for the Nurse Shark Academy is for nurses to reclaim the love they have for their profession. I want you to fall back in love with your job and with your career. And it may look different. And this is what I always tell people, your nursing journey may not be the same as it was when you started 20, 30, 40, 50, 10, 5, or even 1 year ago, right? Things evolve and change, and that's okay. And I want you to explore that. My nursing journey does not look the same today as it did 30 years ago. It really didn't. When I started out working in the lab as a tech and then working as a CNA in the nursing home, my journey changed over time. The things that I got to do changed over time. I've worked in hospice care and long term care and home care. I've worked in the hospital setting, in addictions and rehab and psychiatry. I worked all over. I've worked in education where I taught as an adjunct faculty member, owned my own CNA training school. All these different things that I've been able to do as a nurse. And that's just me. That's just me. So I can imagine all the different things that you've been able to do in your career as a nurse. I've been a nurse educator and nurse management. I've done a variety of different things. And part of that is because I'm always curious about learning something new and doing something different. And I think that you, if you're here, are too. So let's talk a little bit about mindset because we need to get our minds ready as we go into our goal setting workshop here. So think about where you are now. This is from Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. And I like this quote because it really sums up where you need to be when you're talking about setting your goals and setting your dreams. So it says, a burning desire to be and to do It's the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. And so I want to stop here for a moment and I want to say, what is that burning desire that you have? What is it that you really want to see happen? What is your vision for 2024? He goes on to say, dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. Remember that all who succeed in life get off to a bad start and pass through many heartbreaking struggles before they arrive. The turning point in the lives of those who succeed usually comes at the moment of some crisis through which they are introduced to their other selves. And I've talked about this before because when I think about my career trajectory, there were some pivotal moments that introduced me to my other self. One of them, just most recently, was turning that pivotal moment and becoming a podcaster. That introduced me to my other self. I hadn't really thought of myself as a podcaster, but someone had spoke that into me, and I realized I was already doing the thing that I had a desire to do. I didn't know I was already in that space. And so then I began to own those titles, and that's what I started to do. I started owning those things of, yes, this is what I'm doing. I started thinking about creating content and what does that mean. I started leaning into what does it mean to be a legal nurse consultant, and how do you respond to certain things, and how do you interact, and what does that mean when you call yourself these things, when you understand who you are and what you do. And I introduced myself to that other self. And I'd always been a speaker, but now I own that title because before, we struggle with that whole thing. We talked about this imposter syndrome that happens. And you feel like maybe, you're not good enough. But then I realized I was already doing the very thing that other people were labeling me as and not realizing it. And so I started to embrace those things. And even yesterday, there was someone who put a post here on LinkedIn, and I remember responding to the post, and it was something along the lines of every nurse can be a legal nurse consultant, but not every nurse is me. And I say that, and at first I was going to put an explanation behind it, and I was going to say, I'm not, but then I said, no, I'm going to let that statement sit there and speak for itself. And I think that sometimes that's what we need to do. We need to change our mindset and to own those things and understand those other selves of who we really are. And that's going to help you in setting your goals. So I want you to think about that and not set your goals on a lower level, but actually reach far, dream big. So yesterday we talked about your SWOT analysis, and this is a slide from yesterday, and this is your homework from yesterday. So I hope you had a chance to complete your homework. So we're looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats that you have in your business and or your career. We talked a lot about a nursing career as opposed to just a business, because I want this to be accessible to everyone. You don't have to just be an entrepreneur and own a business, but your career, your nursing license is your business. And I want you to think of your license that way. And so we're doing your SWOT analysis and really looking at where there's opportunities for growth and where you can prepare to mitigate these threats maybe in the future. So I want you to start focusing on your goals. This is from Don Yeager's book, and I love this, and I quote him a lot. And those who've been around know I quote these. These books are my go-tos. These are the ones that I've read and really are influenced by. And so I like to share not just my wisdom, but I want to back it up. I'm going to share other people's wisdom here. So he says stopping negative thoughts is important because visualization failure is as effective as visualizing success. And I think about that because oftentimes, how many times do we think about what ifs? Well, what if this happened? And what if that happens? And what if no one shows up? And what if no one comes? And what if no one engages? And what if no one? And that negative thought, bringing those negative thoughts and putting that out there, brings that failure to you. You get your, as they call it, your um, your sorry, I got distracted by something. You get what you think about, right? It comes back to you. And so he goes on to say, don't gear yourself up for failure. Only losers prepare to lose. When an individual is stuck in a losing mindset, failure and disappointment seem to follow them. It becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. That's where I was going with that. So instead, visualize objectives and pursue them without restraint. I found that interesting. Without restraint. So, what would you do if in 2024 you went after your objectives and goals without restraint? What would your year look like? He says, when you visualize your victory, you don't have to constrict yourself to modest goals. Go ahead and let yourself imagine the fullest impact of your efforts. Why not? If you limit yourself in your imagination, you limit yourself in real life. And so this is why I'm saying I'm encouraging you to think big. One of the exercises that one of my coaches and mentors asked me to do one time was to imagine a money goal that I had. And so I gave them my money goal and they said, now double it. Okay. So I did. And they're like, it's still too small. Double it again. So I did. And when I had that in my mind, that was the year we did really, really well. And it's because that was the goal that I had set. That was the intention that I had set. And so I'm asking you to maybe you need to rethink your goal. And maybe you had a modest goal of breaking even this year. But why not set the bar a little bit higher? So I want you to focus on your goals and find what is your objective. What is your main objective in 2024? And I want you to start with the end in mind, because if your goal is to say, and I'm just going to throw it out there, let's say your goal is to make $1 million. All right. If that is your end goal, then how do we work backwards to make that goal achievable? So, where do you want to be at the end of this year in 2024, this coming year, in 3 years or 5 years? How do you envision your life in the future? And I want you to think big, because I think sometimes we don't challenge ourselves. We're afraid to set those goals because what if we don't make it? But my question is, let's say your goal is to make $100,000. We're going to make it 100,000. All right. And you get to 99,000. How hard is it for you to make up that last $1,000? And think about that. You get towards the end of the year, you need $1,000 to make your goal. Isn't that going to push you a little bit further to try to get to that goal? Right? And so that's why I'm saying think big. Don Yeager went on to write when he was interviewing Danica Patrick, she said, risks are everywhere in life and you won't get far without taking them. You may win, you may lose, or even crash. But if you're going to be the best at what you do, you've got to go for it. If you ease off the throttle, others will leave you in the dust on their way to the checkered flag of your profession. And so as you're thinking about this, right, what is it that you need to go full out, take risks, and just jump in and do it? What are those goals that you need for next year? Again, don't be afraid to dream big. I love this. It says, do not dream your life, live your dream. I love that picture. So identify what you're passionate about doing. Look to do more of it. And so as nurses, there are so many things that we love about our job. How can we do more of the things that we love? I love this one. Don't quit your day job until you've got some success under your belt. And this is important. I've learned this. This is all from the 1 Minute Entrepreneur. I love this book. It just has some great insights that have helped me. And it says, if nobody will pay you for what you do or what you love, you have a hobby and not a career. And so, as we're looking at 2024, what is it that you want to accomplish? So, I want you to take some action today. Let's explore. Write out your vision or goals for your business. For example, I want to help fellow nurses successfully launch and grow their own businesses. So, this is your homework. What's your vision or goals for your business? And that's one of the reasons why I started out with my vision statement. If I want nurses to reclaim the love they have for their profession, I want you to love being a nurse again. And it may look different from what you started out as. I honestly, when I started out my nursing career, I thought I would work on the unit forever. I thought that I would maybe go into management and be the vice president or president of the hospital. That's what I had in my mind when I started out in my nursing journey. But time and different circumstances gave me the opportunity to grow in different ways that I never knew I could. I never thought of being an entrepreneur. I never thought of starting a business. I didn't even enter my mind to do so. But once I got started, once I got introduced, it opened up a world of opportunities to me that I don't think I ever would have had I stayed on my original plan and trajectory. So it's okay if plans change. It's okay if you have to pivot and change. Who knew what was going to happen in 2020, right? We didn't know. And so one of my coaches and mentors said, he says, I believe that 2020 happened for me and not to me, because that allowed him to focus on what was happening in his business and to grow it. And I'm convinced that it's how we show up and how we think about what's happening to us that makes the difference. You can allow life to happen to you or happen for you. And every time I've done something, I find it so interesting that I say, God wastes nothing. Who knew that my skills of learning how to be on a radio broadcast and how to be a DJ and have a music show, and I had a jazz show in high school and a gospel show in college, and I learned to be behind the mic, and I learned how to talk to people, and I learned how to broadcast, and I did all those things. I even had my FCC license. I did all the things that I'm supposed to do, right? And yes, I learned that probably in the dinosaur days when we still had the big reel to reels. Yes, I remember those. And cassette tapes. I remember that. And then we had DVDs and CDs that we had to play and all those different things. Yeah, I remember all those things, right? And now everything is electronic, etc. But I remember doing that. And who knew that having those skills of talking behind a mic would make me comfortable in speaking on camera years later as a podcaster. And I'm amazed at how all the different things that I've learned throughout the my years, that they all make up who I am. And I want you to embrace that for yourself. I think about the coaches and mentors that I have in my life, and I think about their journey. And I'm a very big observer of people. And so I'm thinking about one particular coach that I watch, and she came out of the theater industry. And I watch her when she speaks. And I think because she came out of that industry, that is why she just comes alive on the stage. I think that being in that industry now really helps her just to take command of a room. When she's in the room, you know she's in the room, right? And the way she speaks to you, you can tell her passion that's in her voice. And I think her early career of being in the theater industry really served her well to be on the stage. She's very engaging when you listen to her. And I think about some others that I'm drawn to. And I watch as they're going. I don't just watch and listen to what they're saying, but how they're saying it and how they're talking. And their story is fascinating and interesting to me. And they have a way of drawing you in and engaging you. I'm saying all of this is because I think that all the stuff we've gone through makes up who we are, and that informs who we're going to be later. That helps us. We can take all that we've learned, all that we've gained, and yes, even use that math that we learned, right? Back in school. We can take all of that and put it towards a use. I had the privilege of meeting a nurse inventor who used engineering things that he understood in his nursing background to create products that we use today. That is what innovation is all about. And so that's why I want you to think about your success and to have that vision for your career or your business. So don't be afraid to write out that big, audacious goal, because you never know where that's going to lead you. So I want you at this time to think about your vision. What does that look like? What does it feel like? What are the sounds? What are the smells, even? Right? I'm a big proponent of aromatherapy and smells and like that bring back your memories. And one of the things that I like to envision when I do some guided imagery work with individuals is I tell them, what does it smell like when you're by the lake or by the water? Can you smell the water? Can you feel the heat of the sun on your skin? We take them into that experience. And so I want you to go into this experience for yourself. And so I have an example of an experience that I see for myself. So I see myself in a black business suit with kente cloth piping. And this is a suit that I had envisioned in my mind that I was going to have my seamstress make for me. Standing in front of a group of nurses on a stage, giving my talk, watching their heads nod, pens at the ready to take notes, and surrounded by successful entrepreneurs that I have coached across the world. The energy is high and full of anticipation. There's almost like a crackling feeling of the energy. I can just feel it surging and the positivity that's coming towards me. And we're together and in one accord. I think that's what it meant when the Holy Spirit came in the book of Acts. He said everyone was on one accord, and that's what I'm seeing. Everyone's on one accord. Everyone's got a yes. If I could see it written on their foreheads, it would say yes. That we're all together and understanding we've got a mutual goal, and I know that they get it. That's my vision. So I want you to hold your vision. Write it down. Write your vision statement. Post it in the chat if you like. This is to get you started on what motivates and drives you in your business or career. Do you see yourself standing as a professor in front of a class of nursing students? Do you see yourself as working on the unit as a charge nurse, or maybe the supervisor, or maybe the nurse manager, and working side by side with your colleagues? Do you see yourself in a lab developing new products and new techniques and things that we can use in surgery or at the bedside or in long-term care to keep patients from falling or keep people safe, or maybe a new way that keep them their pain managed? What is it that you're seeing? What is your vision? Write it down. I was just thinking about how we just had Christmas, and they were saying how when the angels came and spoke to Mary, they told Mary that she was going to have a child, and she didn't understand what they were saying, but she was hiding those things into her heart. And then later, when Jesus was at the temple and he was talking to the scholars at the temple, he made the pronouncement, "Didn't you know I had to be about my Father's business?" And she marveled at what he said, and she held those things in her heart. I think that there's a vision that you have, that you understand of how your life is going to be. And maybe you don't have all the details. We don't need to have all the details all the time. But that vision that you have, that's been revealed to you of what you're going to do, write it down. Put today's date on it. Set it aside. Put it on your mirror. Put it somewhere that you can see it every day, so that you're drawn to it and set your attention to make it happen. So plot your business or career path today. Develop the first steps to grow your business or your career. You're going to need passion. If you're not passionate about what you do, then you're not going to really put your best effort into it. I can tell you there's been many business ventures that were presented to me, but I was not passionate about them. And I knew that it would become a burden because it wasn't my passion. My passion is to see other nurses soar. That's my passion. I love to see people win. I love that. When I know that I've helped someone achieve the goals that they made, that means I've achieved my goal. I've helped someone else grow. Set your goals, and we're going to talk about those goals and setting them today. Use your experience. You have these great experiences, nurses and other healthcare professionals. You guys rock, and you should know that and own that. And then dream. Don't forget to dream, because sometimes things they seem like they're far off, but it's amazing how in a short period of time how far you can come. I get so excited now because of the things that I'm doing. I get involved in them. I see where we could grow further. I get excited. And my question to you is, aren't you getting excited about things? Don't you have a vision for your life? If you haven't had one, get one. One of the things that I love about watching superhero movies, and I'm thinking about this again because we just watched Aquaman 2, is that when I watch a superhero movie, and it's maybe just for me, but is that it allows you to tap into that place when you were a child and you believe that anything could be possible. And when you tap into that creativity, that place of where anything can be possible, you begin to see yourself then as a hero in your own journey. And so I'm encouraging you to see yourself as a hero in your own epic journey in life. So you need to focus and have clarity. So develop a clear vision of what problem your business is to solve for your customers. So if you are in the business of making pie, but then what's the problem that you're going to solve for your customers? Maybe that your pies are not only delicious, but they're nutritious. And maybe your pies do well because they help people who are on several different types of diets, because now everybody's trying to eat healthy. And so maybe you've developed something that will make an answer to the problem in your business. And so if you're the nurse on the unit and you see a problem of, okay, every time this happens, we run short, there's an issue, how can I solve that problem? Can you come up with a better way of keeping a patient safe from rolling out of the bed and falling on the floor, or a patient getting up to go to the restroom and falling? What can you do to help solve that problem that you may see on your unit? Can you be the nurse or the other healthcare professional that comes up with the solution to the problem? And then plan. At the Nurse Shark Academy, we help nurses answer that question I have a business idea. What do I do next? We help nurses build businesses. That is our core. So, what is the plan? What is it that you do? And how can you bring that out? And then define, you must define your core for your company and begin with the end in mind. And so, when I thought about the Nurse Shark Academy, what did I want to see at its core? I wanted to see nurses get a win. That's what I wanted. And I had to align that with my values. And so that's going to be very important. You need to have a values statement. What is it that you, as your company, or you as a nurse in your career, what do you value? And then we have to talk about sales because that's important too. This is some of the things you'll have to put on your goals because we need to make a profit. If you have a business, you want to make a profit. If you're working a job, you want to get paid, right? So sales, we are all in the business of selling something, whether it's our brand, our services, or our products. And I have to tell you that if you're an employee working in a job, you are selling your services to that company. So what does that mean? How can you turn that into making a profit for you? Maybe it is working that extra shift if that's what you want to do. Or maybe it's adding a value back to the company so that they can add value back to you. I don't know. But as an entrepreneur, you certainly have to be in the business of sales because if you're not selling, then you're not going to be able to feed your family. So you can sell without being salesy, but you have to put in the work by developing relationships. You have to talk to people. You have to get to know people. You have to pick up the phone. So these are things that we need to know that's going to help us grow in 2024 in our business. So build relationships with like-minded entrepreneurs and other nurses that are doing things that you're interested in learning about or doing. So maybe you are a great nurse. You can always get that stick. You're an infusion nurse. Maybe you want to learn how to run your own company as an infusion nurse. Or maybe you want to go work for a company that has your best interest in mind and heart, that aligns with your values. Because again, we can't forget that our values have to be in alignment. And so if you value flexibility and time with your family, maybe you have to look for a job that speaks to that. And there has to be some give and take. So for example, I value the time that I have. And so I work a job where I work 4 10-hour days because I needed to make sure I only work 4 days a week. That was important to me. So you need to decide what's important to you and what fits into your values and what's in your needs. But then meet other people that are doing what you want to do. And if you're always hanging around with people that aren't going anywhere, guess what? You're going to get stuck too. So find people that are doing something, find the doers and get to know them. And then ask for referrals. Don't be shy. Ask them, hey, do you know someone who could use my services? Do you know how I can help someone else? And do that and then become a referral source for others. Share what you have. This is the same thing we learned in kindergarten. Sharing is kind, and there's more than enough to go around, so you don't have to worry about, oh, if I tell them my competition will shoot me down or take all my sales. No, because there's more than enough to go around. And so share what you have and be a referral source for others. So I know that I may not be the best coach for someone that wants to do an infusion business, right? However, I happen to know someone that's very good in that area who would be an excellent coach for that. And I can introduce you to that person because I don't have to be the coach for everything, right? I am the startup person. I'm the person that helps you get your mind right and get your plan together and get you going in the right direction and help you get your research done and get you started in your business. That's what I do. But for those that are very specific and niche oriented to certain things, you might need the expertise of someone who's been there and done that, who can train you to do that. And I don't mind passing on that referral at all. Because someone may refer to me someone that's interested in being a legal nurse consultant, and what does that mean? And I can help them with that. So you also want to be strategic. Be strategic. Your strategy, develop a plan for your business. And what do I mean by that? I mean an actual step by step. Here are our objectives. Here are our goals. This is how we're going to get to where we're going to do. Just like you write a care plan for your patients. If you can write a care plan for your patients, you can write a business plan for your business. Why? Because you want to put in those interventions that get you to where you want to go ultimately. And when you think about that in that way, it makes a lot more sense. And it's not as difficult as we sometimes put it in our minds to be. Investigate your field, your product or service you plan to offer. Oftentimes, I talk to budding entrepreneurs and I said, well, have you looked at what the requirements are? What are the regulations? Is there someone in your industry that's doing what you're doing? Have you talked to them? Investigate. Have you looked online and done a Google search and found out what your competitors are in your area? Investigate your field. Did you go to a seminar, read a book? What can you do to do this? And is there a market for your service or product? That's why we talked about doing your market analysis. And we did all that on day one about talking to your customers and talking to your employees and all that different thing. This is your market. And you need to know, is what I'm offering, is what I'm bringing to market, does someone want that? Is there a market for what I want to do? And then what questions or problems does your target audience often have? Talking to your customers. Hey, what are your pain points? What is it that you're looking for? How are you looking to what is it that we what are the gaps in services that we may have? Those are the questions that you may want to ask your customers and look at your market. And one of the things that I noticed when I started the Nurse Shark Academy, because as an entrepreneur myself, when I started, there weren't a lot of nurses out there telling you or helping you with the basics, day to day, the mundane, the strategy to get you started. There was great nurses that are give you a lot of fluff. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've been in the industry for a while now, and there are some great coaches out there, and there's some not so great folks out there. I'm not calling names or nothing like that, but I noticed that there's some people that give you a lot of fluff, and then they kind of leave you to figure it out on your own. And that's the difference that we make working with me, is because I don't want to leave you out there on your own, floundering, trying to figure things out. I want to be with you step by step by step as we go through the process to get your business started. And so I noticed that there was a gap there because I just wanted someone to tell me what the next step was, and no one would. And so I want to make sure that we help in that area. That was a gap that I noticed that was in a lot of the industry. Questions you may want to look at. Do you need to lease space or can you work from home? That was a question that many people had. And because the way I structured my CPR business, I would go to the other businesses and teach in their space. So I didn't have to worry about having a space of my own. And if I needed to do a class, I could always do it at my church until I had my own business. So these are things that you need to figure out for yourself. And does your business need a license to open? What are the rules and the laws in your state, in your city, even? Because there may be specific rules in your city. And then what happens if you have people that are outside of your state? How does that look like? For instance, as a speaker, I had the opportunity to go to California. And because I was speaking and making money in California, even though I was there for 3 days, really, essentially, and speaking, I had to pay taxes in California. That's a California rule, right? Even though I'm from Indiana, I had to pay California taxes on that. Now, eventually they gave it back to me in a tax refund because I only worked there 3 days. But you need to know what the rules are if you're going to be doing business in certain areas, and that's important to know. And then what additional training do you need and where do you get that information? And so I'm working with a massage therapist right now. She's working in her school. And so we looked at some additional training that she would need going forward because I want her to have everything so that when we go before the certification board, we have all her documents in a row. Because she has to be certified. The rules change in Indiana. She has to be certified in order to be able to do certain things. So you need to be persistent. Don't take no for an answer. In this book by Rachel Hollis, and some of you have read her stuff, um, she wrote about being turned down by multiple publishers about her book. She describes what to do with that voice of authority tells you no. The answer is you find another way. She says your dream is worth fighting for, and while you're not in control of what life throws at you, you are in control of the fight. And that is exactly what I was saying back when we were talking about Napoleon Hill. Things are going to happen to you, it's how you respond to them. And then you need to face your fears and take action. It takes gumption. Yes, you have to go out there and say, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to learn. And I may have to do it scared. I was I was nervous when I started my very first podcast. I did my very first episode and I decided to do it just telling my own story because I'm like, I don't have a guest. I don't have that pressure of a guest. I can figure it out as I go along. And it says, do the time. Instant success is a fantasy. Everyone had to start somewhere. Invest in yourself and your company. And this is where I see a lot of new entrepreneurs get tripped up because they think, oh, I see the successes that people are having and they just walked in and it just happened for them. That is not true. Bill Gates didn't get to be Bill Gates just by walking in with a computer, and he had to learn the skills and build the stuff and do the things to get started. The same thing with Steve Jobs. He didn't just walk into a $1 billion company. This didn't happen overnight. Even Elon Musk didn't get successful overnight. I mention these people because these are the people that we know of that are billionaires that we see. Even Oprah Winfrey. Let's talk about Oprah. She started out as a news correspondent. She was on television doing like daytime TV. She, at a small regional market in Chicago, then grew and grew and grew and grew. Now has international fame. I tell you this is because it didn't start with the $1 billion company. That's not where they started. They started small and built and built and built. And you have to start somewhere. So be willing to start. Learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. You may fumble. You may not make it the first time out. You may have some setbacks. You may find out that as you're going along, you might have to turn and do something differently or make a pivot or a change. That's okay. Learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. You can't let go and expect everything to happen if you're not being persistent. These are things that you need to do to get to your goals. So we want to have SMART goals. And when we talk about your SMART goals, we want to make sure that they're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time oriented. So I want to talk a little bit about the specificity here. What is it that you want to go? It's not enough to say, I want to make $1 million, right? You want to say specifically, I want to make $1 million in this industry by this doing, et cetera, et cetera. So let's say I want to sell luxury cars. I want to make $1 million by selling the top 3 luxury cars of our brand, blah, blah, blah. That's very specific. It has to be measurable. How are we going to do this? We're gonna engage in how many customers does it take for us to get a sale. So if it takes you to talking to 10 customers to get one sale and you want to make $1 million and maybe the cars are like worth $50,000, then you see we can do the math. That's where the math comes in. You do the math of how many customers you need to talk to get to the one sale that each of those cars are $50,000 or more. What does that look like? It's measurable by how many contacts you make, how many customers you talk to, how many sales you make. It's attainable. Can you talk to 10 customers a day? Can you talk to 30 customers a day? Can you talk to 40 customers a day? How is that attainable? Can you do those things? And if you have a goal, you have to make sure that it's something that you can physically do. Now, I can say I want to go to outer space, but is that attainable for me? Not right now, it's not. I don't have a rocket ship. I'm not a billionaire and I can't pay my way on one of Elon Musk rocket ships. So it's not attainable to me, right? It may be a goal, but it's not attainable. Is it relevant? Well, is going to outer space, is that really relevant to what I want to do? Pretty much not. It's not relevant. So maybe that's not a goal that I should have on my business plan of going to outer space, right? And is it time oriented? How much time are you giving yourself? Are you looking at, are you going to achieve a certain goal by quarter one? Are you going to achieve it by quarter two? Are you looking at the end of the year? What's the time frame for these goals? So we set these goals and we set our intentions in mind, and we put a timetable to it. So let's take a look of a quick example. So I just put this together. I said, I want to increase my podcast subscribers to 1,000 listeners by the next quarter, right? You could say, okay, we get 1,000 people to listen. So here are the action steps. I will engage a social media manager to help implement a social media campaign. I will utilize my current social media platforms to invite guests to participate in the podcast and have them share their appearance with their own social media list. I will continue to develop compelling content. So those are my action steps, but let's put the time frame on it. So the time frame would be, okay, I will engage a social media manager and choose someone by the end of the first 2 weeks. I will utilize my current social media platforms to invite guests. So I'm going to put a post out. So I'll have a post out by the end of the first week. I will continue to develop compelling content. Okay, so every week I will put out one piece of content. I mean, just however you want to do it. So that's adding your time to it. So these are some of your examples. Okay. So I want you to get started today. This is your homework. Write out your goals your plan to achieve them using that SMART goals, and write your vision statement and make sure you put a deadline to it. I suggest you have no more than 1 week to get started. So you're going to do this plan and get this done this week. And use the power of momentum from coming from this event of going into the momentum of getting this done. Do that. Very important. So now let's talk about what you can do further. So as we're going on further, you can join us in the Freedom Finance Workshop, which is coming up on December the 30th. So in a few days from now, actually tomorrow. Tomorrow is a Freedom Finance Workshop. So go ahead and sign up for that. And this, we're going to talk about how to finance your business. That's one of the questions that I get from a lot of people. I want to start a business. I don't have the money. And I'm going to tell you, you can start your business and start working towards your business without having the money. And we're going to talk about how, because I think that's people think that, oh, I have to have all the money up front. No, not necessarily. You can finance your business in several different ways. We'll talk about that tomorrow at the workshop. You can jump into the Jumpstart Your Nurse Biz workshop, which is coming up on January the 2nd. And we're going to get you started. This is kind of like a quick crash course on getting your business started. So this is usually about $497, but we got an early bird price of $197 right now. So you can hop into that course, and we'll work together to get you started on your business. And there's limited seating in this because I want to really work with the individuals that are doing it. So if you sign up soon, because there's limited seating, because I want to have that time to work with you. And when you're part of this, you also get your a coaching call as well with me personally. You have the Business Builder Masterclass where you can join us, which is a structured program. There's 6 sessions. We take what we've learned from the Jumpstart and we kind of go deeper into building your business. You get the community that's around you to help you and encourage you so you don't feel like you're doing it alone, because a lot of times we start our businesses as nurse entrepreneurs in a vacuum. We feel like we're just doing it all on our own. And then mentorship, which means you'll have access to solid leadership and business principles through our community of experts. And so you'll have that available to you, and that's $14.97 to join that program. So again, all together, if you want to join us in the Nurse Shark Academy, you get the Freedom Finance Workshop. That's $47. The Jumpstart Nurse Biz, that's $4.97. The Nursing Business Masterclass, that's $14.97 with a total value of $2,041. Right? Or you can become a member, and by becoming a member, you get access to all of those programs, as well as our community live coaching calls, one-on-one coaching sessions, access to the mastermind group. You can do that, and you can do that for the 6 months membership. So it's not like we're holding you hostage for a year or anything like that. You always have the option to renew. You can pay in advance the $1,800 and join that way if you just want to pay it out, or you can do the pricing plan, which is $299.99, and with the $50 fee for the pricing plan. But you can certainly join us that way as well. And I encourage you to join the Nurse Shark Academy. Really, this is, you get most for the bang for your buck. You get access to all our previous trainings, all our courses that we have available for you. They're there, right there on the platform, and you have access to all of that. Our previous training videos, legal nurse consulting. We have a special training that we will be giving later on in the year about legal things for nurses. So we'll be talking about some of that stuff and why you need to protect your license and how you can protect your license. You also have access not only to our video archive and our courses, but you have access to all of our content pretty much. And so we really encourage you to become a member. We give you access to everything. All right, so that's it for me. I like to keep you, we're right on time, under an hour. I know nurses are busy. We don't have time to sit around and go to trainings for hours and hours and days at a time. But this is why we set up our program the way we do. And so that you get a chance to hop in however you want to. You can become a member, get access to everything. You can become a You can go into individual courses if that's what you want to do. We want to invite you to become a part of the Nurse Shark Academy. And again, I thank you for your time. If there's any questions, any comments, please do so. Let me know. You can certainly do that, but always go to our website, thenurssharkacademy.biz. You can also message me there if you have questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. And then VIP, those of you that had opted in to VIP, we do have VIP afterwards. So if you wanted to really work on those goals and those SMART goals, we work on those stuff together. Otherwise, you can join us in the Nurse Shark Academy and become a member, or join one of our training programs, and certainly we'll see you then. All right, so I'm going to give you back about 7 minutes, 6 minutes back into your day, and I want to thank you for being here. Also, follow our page on our social media, because we will be having new workshops coming up in 2024. I'm excited about that. And those of you that are in our Nurse Shark Academy Challenge group on Facebook, we're going to be doing something a little different for you. I did want to make that announcement too. For those of you that are on our Facebook group, and I want to thank you for following us and being part of our challenge group, we're going to be doing some interesting things for you all in that group as well. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys good value in everything. So, and those of you that are on our forum, on our page, you'll be seeing some of that as well. So I just want to encourage you to participate, and I'll see you then. All right, bye-bye. Okay, so don't forget to sign up. Sign up today. I'll see you then.